Hey, happy Friday, everyone. Hope you are doing well. It is the end of the week, the end of the work week for most of us. Weekend is right around the corner, and I am so happy to be here and continue talking to all of you about different topics. That's what this is: in the raw, unscripted, unpracticed, unedited conversation. And I want to talk to you about a very interesting subject, the subject on habits. We all have them. We all have them. We all have habits, and some of them we like, some of them we don't. But the truth is, we all have them. And just to define what a habit is, it refers to a routine of behavior that is repeated regularly and tends to occur subconsciously. Can also denotate an established disposition of the mind or character or customary manner of practice. In a broader context, habit can refer to a behavior pattern acquired by frequent repetition, often associated with addiction or a specific style of life. And this is the actual Merriam-Webster definition of what the word habit means. But as I said, we all have them, and some are good, some are bad. And if we were to make like an inventory of our habits, we would be surprised to know that there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, and we have them without even knowing, without even being conscious about it. And it's important that we understand this principle to be able to deal with our habits. We need to know who we are and what defines us. The Word of God should be what defines us as people. If you're a believer in God and a Christian, and you should use the Word of God to define who you are. God, you've heard this phrase, I'm not who people say I am. I'm not who I say I am. I am who God says I am. And that's what the Word of God tells us. Also, something that should define us is the level of our commitment to ourselves and to others, and to God, of course, and what we do with our habits that we develop throughout our lives. And why is it important to develop good habits in our lives? That's a question that I want you to think about. And I think the answer could be something like this. How many of you have known somebody or have heard of somebody that was diagnosed with a terminal disease? Maybe it was somebody that passed away before, way too early, before their time, because of this disease. And, this reminds me of a movie that came out around 2006, in the early 2000s. I think it was 2006. And it's called Last Holiday with Queen Latifah. And I'm not sure those of you that are older might have seen it or might have heard of it. And it's precisely about a woman who is living an insignificant life. And all of a sudden, she receives she's diagnosed. She receives this diagnosis of a terminal illness, and she's told that she's got 3 weeks left to live. And she decides to live all of her dreams, do everything that she never could do in her life. She travels to Europe. She lives the best life, and spends all her money. And, many people do the same when they are in a similar situation. They try to live, make up for everything they didn't do or they didn't live. They try to make up for that. And the truth is that we shouldn't have to wait to live when we face ourselves with, adverse situations like this. The time to start living the good life, or the, productive life, is now. Today is when we should develop those habits that will transform us for the rest of our lives. So when we reach that time when it's time to go from this earth, that final moment or that final, the end of our life, when it's time to leave this earth, we will be satisfied that we lived, fulfilling all of God's purposes, and we lived to the fullest, of our potential and what God planned for us. And so that we can say, and people can say when we're gone, what an incredible life they lived. That should be our goal, that people would say that. And so in the next few videos, I'm going to talk about 5 areas of growth in our life. 5 areas that we need to grow in: intellectually, socially, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Those are the 5 areas. This is nothing new. These are areas that are very well known by each of us. We all know that we need to, be productive in every one of these 5 areas to be successful, and we need to grow in all of these areas to be successful. So I will be talking about this in the next few videos. I hope you tune in. I hope you will follow and have an amazing day, a great weekend, and we will talk to you soon, and we'll continue talking about habits.